Hi everybody, thank you for coming by to my channel, Newsome. Does everybody think that the United States and India is going to solve their trade disputes? Well, in the middle of the headlines of the US trade war with China, you may have failed to notice that a low-intensity trade dispute with Asia's other apparent giant is also fuming. It all began a year ago when the US scraped India of special low-tariff status, overstating that it discriminated against American companies. Basically, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tries to imitate the same principle that China, which is the world's number 2 economy, by gladly receiving foreign investment at the same time protecting more of the domestic market for Indian companies. So India doesn't pose the same economic or geopolitical threat the way China does, but it currently on an encounter with President Donald Trump, who is intended to penalize any country that he thinks has taken advantage of the United States. Mr. Modi promised to change that when he leads the BJP, which is initialed for Bharatiya Janata Party, which is one of the 2 major political parties in India, back to power in 2014 on a policy of minimum government and maximum control. During the year 2018 budget, and again this year as well, the Modi government increased tariffs on many products. Last year, in its report on the foreign trade barriers, the U.S. Trade Representative opposed Mr. Modi's Make in India program and foreign trade policy with the addition of a pre-existing national manufacturing policy that urged local content and technology transfer requirements for defense, electronics, medical information and communications, and clean energy products, such as what China has done. Mr. Modi has opened up to foreign investment on the expectation that it would help build domestic manufacturing capability. The Chinese model has a very powerful resonance in India, said Arvind Subramanian, a former economic advisor to the Modi government and now a lecturer at Harvard University. The view is they have built domestic champions, so why can't we do the same, he says. In a recent article, Mr. Subramanian and a co-author show that Indian manufacturing reached at its highest mark at a much lower share of gross domestic product than in China, a sign of premature deindustrialization. And secondly, China's growth sparked a global comeback against free trade that prevents against any country repeating its plan. While U.S. policymakers don't see India as a deliberate danger like China, Mr. Modi support a more harsh Hindu believing that their country is the best, which has raised a lot of protests by India's Muslim minority and that has undersold some of that goodwill. That won't help India from a trade war with the United States any more than President Donald Trump's closeness for the Chinese President Xi Jinping spared China, even though Donald Trump states to personally like Mr. Modi. President Trump is traveling to India next week, where he may reach some sort of agreement for a certain amount of time with Narendra Modi, but the basic dispute will likely continue because it is managed by forces similar to those behind the trade war with China.